Okay, so because of that extract, we're going to add two new names, Allywood and Locasio, to the cast of characters we're keeping track of. No reason in particular. The next extract gives us just one more new name. I promise it's the last one. It reads, Waddell was an orthopedic surgeon with a particular interest in back pain and related disability. Waddell suggested that back pain should not cause long-term disability, that too much rest was harmful, and that a rehabilitative approach, notably with controlled exercises, was necessary and sufficient to facilitate recovery and return to work. Waddell also distinguished between what he considered an illness, a psychosocial entity, and a disease, a biomedical entity, considering back pain to be the former. Adding Waddell gives our group a final head count of 6. That's Wesley, White, and Sharp, the psychiatrists, and now Allywood, Locasio, and Waddell too. Nothing more to say on that. The next extract is going to talk about the Woodstock conference. It reads, in 2001, a conference was held in Woodstock, near Oxford in the UK, on the subject of malingering and illness deception. Significant attendees included Waddell, Allywood. Allywood was then medical advisor to the DWP, Professor Peter Halligan, who went on to become Associate Director at the Unum Providence Centre for Psychosocial and Disability Research, and Professor Derek Wade, formerly of the Oxford Centre for Enablement and author of various papers on the merits of a BPS model, notably with Halligan. Professors Michael Sharp, Simon Wesley, and Peter White, all UK psychiatrists with a special interest in CFS, as they like to call it, were also present. John Locasio, then Unum's second vice president and medical director, also attended. The meeting was funded by the DWP, and its purpose has been summed up by Professor Jonathan Rutherford as none other than the transformation of the welfare system. The next extract is short and simple, certainly not as long as the last one. It reads, as Waddell once said, it is all about money. The main thing was to persuade the Treasury that there was an opportunity for keeping costs down, particularly over the longer term. I'm going to leave that one up on the screen for just a little bit longer, for no particular reason. Let's just let it sizzle, let's just soak up those words for a second. Okay, moving on. The Woodstock Conference also spawned a book entitled Illness, Deception and Malingering after the conference itself, with chapters authored by, amongst others, Michael Sharp, Simon Wesley, Allywood, and Locasio. The publication, which peddles the well-worn narrative of people with subjective health conditions taking advantage of an increasingly generous benefit system through exaggerating their suffering, not understanding their suffering, or just plain malingering, also acknowledges the contributions of other Woodstock attendees, including Peter White and Gordon Waddell. I would like to specifically point out that I have no comments to make on the name choice, illness deception, and malingering. Next, the Waddell-Allywood BPS model appears to have its origins in Waddell's thinking on chronic back pain. The model was largely developed through the work of the Centre of Psychosocial and Disability Research at Cardiff University, established in 2004, where both Waddell and Allywood were key academics, Allywood serving as director and Waddell as honorary professor. The papers produced by the Cardiff Centre provided an academic framework and therefore purported justification for the UK government's successive welfare reforms, and also helped reinforce a reform of disability insurance policy. In respect of the above, it is not coincidental that the Cardiff Centre was sponsored for some years by US insurance company Unum, then Unum Provident, whilst benefiting from associations with the UK government and other entities involved in welfare reform. For example, prior to taking up his post as director of the Cardiff Centre, Allywood had enjoyed a distinguished career in the UK Department of Work and Pensions, or Department of Social Security as it was for part of Allywood's office, as Chief Medical Officer, Medical Director, and Chief Scientist, while some of the Cardiff Centre's work was commissioned by the DWP. The next extract will be the penultimate one. During Allywood's time at the DWP, he helped to develop various forms of benefits assessments and training programs for assessors, significantly with the input from Unum presence, and was also involved in various capacities with Atos, a French company whose healthcare division was contracted by the DWP to manage disability and fitness to work assessments. The result of successive changes to assessments has been to tighten the eligibility criteria for various disability-related benefits, significantly increasing the refusal rate of new claims and stopping of existing claims. And finally, the Work Capability Assessment, introduced in 2008 to police eligibility for the Employment and Support Allowance that replaced the incapacity benefit, has been associated with enormous psychological distress, destitution, and increased suicides amongst chronically ill and disabled people. In 2015, the media reported that more than 80 people per month were dying after being told they were fit to work. Well, wasn't that certainly a neutral experience of looking through extracts that I have no comments to make about? Except for one comment, I guess. I will point out that these extracts have spoken at length about psychology and the biopsychosocial model, and that I have also spoken a lot about these topics in previous episodes in this series. In fact, we've covered about 50 years of history at this point, and it's just been psychology and psychology over and over again. What about biology? Where has the biomedical research into ME been this whole time, throughout all these decades? I mean, with an illness this severe that affects this many people all over the globe, one would assume that medical researchers would be more than eager to explore its underlying pathology. You would think that the institutions that pay for this medical research would be handing out grants like some kind of mystical bird seed, one that would have researchers flock to the field of ME. You would think that there would be a voracious appetite among researchers and funding bodies to finally unlock the secrets of this medical enigma. The knowledge you could gain from research like that has the potential to end the suffering of millions of people with ME and broaden our understanding of other post-viral illnesses and arm humanity against the devastating consequences of any hypothetical mass outbreaks of viral disease that would maybe affect us in the future. And you would certainly think that the biggest funder of medical research in the whole world, the National Institute of Health, would never leave an innumerable amount of patients all over the world to suffer by, say, knowingly underinvesting in ME research for decades, right? Am I right?